A few weeks ago, I saw a patient in my office. A routine follow up. She was 32 years old. I was seeing her for some blood pressure problems. But when I sat down and I started going through her history, I found out that she'd had a stroke and had been in the ICU. A 32-year-old. I asked her what had caused this, and she told me she'd been diagnosed with a spontaneous carotid artery dissection. Basically, one of her main arteries in her neck had been torn on its own, no trauma, no obvious cause. I asked her why this had happened. Why did they tell her this occurred? And she said she'd been told it had probably been related to a spontaneous pneumothorax back when she was 16, a collapsed lung, and that maybe the stress of that event years earlier had somehow weakened her artery over time, leading to this dissection and her stroke. As I sat there listening to this explanation, to be honest with you, it did not sit right with me at all. But to be honest, I didn't know what the diagnosis was either. It just didn't add up, and I told her as much. And then right then and there, I pulled out my phone. I opened up ChatGPT, no names, no identifying information, just the clinical facts. I said, I have a 32-year-old woman, suffered a stroke from a spontaneous carotid artery dissection. She also had a history of a spontaneous pneumothorax at age 16. What diagnoses could these two rare conditions together be explained by? Within seconds, I had a short list of 3 possible diagnoses, and immediately I knew it was Lewy Dietz syndrome, a rare connective tissue disorder I had not seen in any patient during my career. I had only vaguely remembered this from medical school 20 years ago, but I remembered enough. Spontaneous pneumothorax, arterial dissection, vascular fragility. It fit. I told her that right then and there, I believe this is her diagnosis, and we were going to prove it. Over the next few weeks, we ran genetic tests. They came back positive and confirmed her diagnosis. Here's what that means. It means her treatment plan changed. The way we monitor her changed. And maybe most importantly, her children now need to be screened. Because if they carry the same genetic condition, we have a chance to find that and treat them before they have a stroke, before they have to go through any of the suffering she has. Think about that for a second. Now, this is what I want to be clear about. This is not a story about how smart I am. After all, I didn't know what the diagnosis was either. And I will tell you, the very smart doctors at that major medical center where she had her stroke didn't know either. This story is about the willingness to use these tools. Not because of my knowledge, but because of my willingness to use AI, I was able to help this woman get answers she had not been given. Give her peace around this terrifying thing that had happened to her with no explanation, and potentially change the course of her family's life. This is the power of this technology when we use it responsibly. I say this all the time, and I mean it every time. AI will not replace doctors, but doctors who use AI will replace doctors who don't. And I would say the same thing for anyone in any other field. These tools are something not to be afraid of. They're not something to vilify. They're something to learn from, because when you do, you become a better version of yourself, faster, more efficient, and in my case, I hope to be able to save a few more lives along the way. This is what responsible AI use looks like in the real world. If you want to see more of this, I'll be here.